Hey, good evening. Good evening and welcome to the question and answer of the competition number 1. We have with us a couple of directors. And don't forget to first, let's remind you that the audience, the virtual audience, that you can vote for the best film from competition. There is a link below the screen in where you saw the films. So just vote your favorite one. And now let's let's do a quick tour. We have 4 directors with us. It's supposed to be 5, but maybe later on she will join us. Let's start a quick tour, and please the name and the name of the film and your name as a director, of course. Ladies first, Shiva.
Okay. Hello, my name is Shiva Sadegh Asadi. I have a short animated film in Animest competition number 1. Its title is Crab, and I am glad that my film is in the competition, and I would like to say thank you to Festival for inviting my film.
Thank you, Shiva. Eva?
Hello everyone, I'm Eva Darabos and I'm the director of Body to Block, which was my graduation film, and thank you for having me here. And I'm curious if you have any questions.
Dustin?
All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Dustin Reese. I directed Signs, and I'm situated here in Switzerland. And I too am also thrilled that you got the opportunity to watch the film, especially in these times. It's great that it can finally have an audience. Can't wait for the questions too. Bring them on.
Michael?
Hi guys, I'm Michael, Michalis in Greek. I'm based in Cyprus. I am the director and producer of the film The Parrot Lady.
Mm-hmm. Cool. First of all, thank you for your films. Thank you for send us your films, your beautiful films. And now let's start to talk about a bit about the stories of your shorts. So again, let's start with Shiva. Crab.
The story of my film is about a shy boy who wants to join to the school theater group, but the only role that is offered to him is the role of a crab.
Mm-hmm. And it's how did you get I don't know, the inspiration from reality from
The main theme of the film is bullying, and because it is a serious social issue at schools, I was inspired by this subject.
Mm-hmm. Great. Eva? First, Eva, let's say that your Eva's films, it's the only student film from the 4 directors that are here.
Okay.
So yeah, and we starting I think 2018 or 17, we put together, of course the awards are different, but we put together the 2 competitions. So in a competition there are films made by the professional and made by students, but of course the prizes are different from the best short and best students. So Eva, please.
Yeah, thanks. My film is about a farewell to a blockhouse area in a surreal way. And the inspiration actually was my own life, because I lived in a blockhouse for 16 years. And it was really inspiring for me. And I can talk about it for hours and hours, but in short, it's like that.
Okay, Dustin, your funny story with science.
My funny story, is it funny? It's actually, so Signs is a bit the first one that I'm not really resorting to too much dark humor. And it's actually a story that's very close to my heart. The logline is basically, it's about an electrician who installs light letters on buildings. And he kind of is lost in his routine. And so is his partner, who stays at her. She works during the day, he works during the night, and they never see each other. And it's about how I get them back together again. And it's inspiration. It's quite easy. It's autobiographical. No, I work as an operator and as an animator, and those times usually are nicely set in the evening. And my girlfriend is a teacher. But actually, we met during the production. So we met, we got engaged, and we've had our son. So a lot of things has happened. So this was the original idea. It's always based as a profession for me, and this was a profession about somebody who worked at night, who put up light letters, and the rest followed from that. And there isn't a real inspiration per se. I just stumbled across that profession. I wanted to do something with it.
Michael, how do you spell? I mean, it's Michael, but maybe in Greek, how do you say it? Mikael?
Well, in Greek it's Michalis, but I always
Michalis, okay.
It's just easier not having people need to pronounce the Greek name, so it's okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So about the film, it's the film, The Parrot Lady, is inspired from a true story, a true character here in our hometown in Larnaca in Cyprus. The specific person, this lady, you would always see her walking around the city here, which is by the beach. It's a seaside city. You will always see her walking around with some parrots. And she's a character that inspired some other artists as well who did murals and things like that. And I used to see her in the town. And also my script writer used to see her around sometimes, but we never really knew her story. And one time, as I was leaving from a bar, actually, I saw this old woman sleeping on a pavement. And I was a bit shocked, and I turned to my wife back then and asked her, do we have homeless people in Cyprus now? And for us, this was like something very new. In Cyprus, you don't really see any homeless people. And that was when I actually came back from studying in the US, where you would see them like everywhere. And that was like, it intrigued my interest to find out more. And we found out that actually she was not homeless. She did have a house, but the story was that she was afraid that she would die alone because she had no one, no friend, like no family. So she chose to live on the streets out of fear of dying alone. And if she did, no one would find her. So this is the film is a poetic interpretation, an artistic interpretation of that true story. It's not a documentary, and it's a film about old age and loneliness.
Mm-hmm. And because you mentioned your scriptwriter, the next round, let's say, will be about how do you work, because some people prefer to work alone, to have to write the stories that they think about, or some other people in teams, like with scriptwriter, with producer, with animators, with the other part of the team at the film. So Shiva, how do you work with your animation and with your style? Probably because of your style, it would be difficult to work with somebody, at least for the animation and painting parts. And
Yes, I worked alone until the stage of editing. I did everything on my own. I just had one editor that we worked together to edit the film, and then the sound designer and composer to make the music for the film. But before that stage, the stage of post-production, I did everything on my own. Even because I also, because the technique of my film is painting with oil pastels on paper, but I also use rotoscopy. And when I was making films for the film, I played the role of all the characters myself. I made different masks and I made films of myself, and then I composited the films in computer, and then I printed the separate images, and then I painted on each image with oil pastels, and I painted more than 6,000 images for the film. I did all of it alone, and then editing and other things.
But are you planning, I don't know, for the future projects, for example, did you think to have a team, or are you go on like this?
I have already made a new film, and my next film that is already finished has a very different technique, but I did all of it alone, even in a smaller team. It is even my new film is completely some kind of improvisation. You know, I did everything on my own again. Yes.
Okay, thank you, Shiva. Eva, it's your graduation film, yes?
Yeah.
So how is how is the school orientated? They teach you for the teams or for to be, you know, your own boss?
Well, you can apply for a financial support if you want to make a kind of big film, I mean a longer film. And I did that. So I applied for this National Film Fund support. And then I could have the budget to have a few more animators and sound designer, also the music composer. So that's what I did.
But do you apply by yourself, or the school apply for your project?
The school is helping in everything actually. So yeah, I'm happy about it. Like I didn't have to do this application alone. And then yeah, the production started with consultations. Of course, it started with the idea, and then we consulted about it, and then I made the animatic, and then we started to work with the editor, and she has a lot of brilliant ideas. So some rhythm ideas, for example. So I have also a few rhythms in my head which I wanted to do, put into the film, because it was like a mosaic-like story, and so we worked together from the animatic and also with the music composer, and I would say it was about 10 or 15 people in total, my crew. Maybe 15, yeah. And yeah, it was super fun sometimes, and it was super hard sometimes. I don't know if it was the question to talk about this part of the production.
Yeah, and one other small question related with this, it's when you get the money from the film fund for your student film, you have to work with your colleagues, I mean, with the people from the school, or you can work with, I don't know, anyone else outside? There is a
Actually,
condition?
I think you can choose. So you can work with your colleagues from your school, and you can invite somebody from
Okay.
outside of the school. And yeah, that's an interesting thing. Like, yeah, the director is not having any money from it, just all the workers. So I think, yeah, that's all I can tell about it.
Cool. Thank you, Eva. Dustin.
Right. So found my first production notes a couple of months back. Those were dated 2012. But don't worry, didn't start the film 8 years ago. Production started, started about 4 years ago. That's when I met my producer, Saskia. And the story was something completely different at the beginning. And it went through some radical changes because I don't get going without the script. If the script doesn't work, then why bother? Time is important, time is valuable, and I don't want to waste it on mine or anybody else's. And then 3 years ago, we started production. So a year later, we hit into it. I had a team of 2 extra animators to help me. I was basically responsible for all of the home sequences, and the animators did the other day, where his night shift scenes, they animated those scenes. I cleaned it so that the line and the style looks the same. I colored it together with my partner. That was the fastest process. It was colored in 2 weeks. We were working on Toon Boom, so harmony. And then since the beginning, my best friend is a musician, so I got him on board to do the music. And the previous chaps that I know, Thomas Gassman and Loic Kreiden, did the sound design. Sorry, my best friend is Olaf, did the music, and they and we had one lady called Rachel Schmid. She helped a bit on the story, and we had some editors who could look over it as well. But the team was relatively small, maybe 8 people for production, and then of course all the sponsoring going on. It was a wild ride, especially since if one knows the first draft, it took really took quite a turn. But it paid off, I think, and I didn't waste my time or anybody else's.
But when you actually enter in production after the storyboard, after animatic, after all the pre-production steps, you had a place, like a studio, to meet every day for 1 year or 2 years, or each of you like when we're home, or?
This is where it becomes either embarrassing or incredible.
Because
no, it's cool. So 3 years ago, when the production kicked off, and so the story was set, I had a rough animatic. We had budgeted and timed it that it would be 5.5 minutes long. It's 10.5 minutes now. So the animators were with me for 3 months in my studio, and then it was all on me. So I would travel all around. As I said, I work as a cinema operator, so I animated there and cleaned there, or at home, or I've got a summer job as an operator, as an open air cinema, and there I get a caravan there, so I was animating at the caravan and clean up work there. Or even, because I also work at Swiss film festivals, behind in the cabin, while I was screening films, I was making my own. And it was actually quite cool because the one cabin that I work in is during Fantoche, and the signs was shown at Fantoche this year. So it was kind of cool to be able to screen my own film, and 2 years later, that's where it was. So that was pretty cool. But sorry, to answer the question, animated team were there for 3 months, and the sound and the music, they were there from the beginning. I wanted them to be on board so they have an ideas. But of course, their condensed work is something else. I calculated my hours just because I wasn't on it 100% of the time. I think it was 2,700 hours, something like that.
Go.
I guess it's my turn, yeah? Okay. Right. Well, I think the original question was about story and how we work with script writers. Well, in our case, I am the founder of an animation studio. We're Cyprus's longest running animation studio and the biggest, pretty much the only established animation studio in Cyprus. We've been around for 12 years, but this is our first short film for like the festival audience. And about 3 years ago, I turned to Georgia, our scriptwriter who works in-house with us. And I told her, like, listen, I really want to do something creative, not only do, client commission projects. I wanted the studio to take a different turn. So this was, the first step was actually a little bit before that. We invested in a different short film and we were co-producers in that, but The Parrot Lady is our own 100% film that we did 100% in-house. And I just turned to Georgia and the moment I told her I want to do a short film, but I have this idea that it needs to be more of like a documentary. And she immediately told me about The Parrot Lady. And it was like, I still remember that time. It's as if we were like thinking exactly the same thing, So she went ahead and she wrote the script. My role as a director was just to make sure that the messages and the tone would be what it is. But the way that I like to work in the studio as well, I'm not I don't micromanage anything. I always like to be more of like an enabler and create an opportunity for people to add their own creativity. So the whole creation of the film was like a very democratic process. Everyone had the chance to, to pitch in their creative ideas and put their own touch. And there were 20 people that worked on the project. I would say the core team, as people were talking before me, I counted them. There were like, there were 9 of us. I would say we were like the core team, and then another 10, 11 people did, there were junior animators, so we gave them some small things to do. We were lucky that we applied for a grant from the cinema funds here in Cyprus. We did receive 32,000 euros. However, one of the reasons that we wanted to make this film, other than just telling this story, was to do something creative and create room, create an opportunity as a studio for the team members to experiment with new techniques. And I think this is very important for studios to create such opportunities for their team where you don't have pressure, from clients and stuff like that, but, you have the freedom to do it. So, we didn't mind going over budget because we considered it as an investment. Of course, when we did the audit and we realized how much it actually cost, it was like, okay, it was 75,000 euros at the end that it cost. So it was like a 40,000 euro investment from the studio and like 32 something from the government. But it was good. It was a very good learning experience. Technically, we still see it and we say, yeah, we can do this, and I think everyone always says, I wish I could fix this a little bit better. But it was a good experience. We learned a lot and it helped us, going forward. Now our next film is going to be an animated documentary. And we actually just got selected about a month and a half ago at Animest Heroes at the pitching workshop. I was hosted by Asifa, Anesi, and we got selected. So in June 2021, we're going to be part of the pitching forum at Animation Dumont. So our new film, Mesut, will be there. And at least now we did, we learned from our mistakes on some things, and hopefully we'll be stronger for the next film as well.
Yeah, that's cool. I know that it's always this battle in a studio or in a team. That's how do we do? We will take commission film to you have to eat, or we are going on this artsy part, and what should we do? But we are kind of lucky. Maybe Shiva, it's for you. How is in Iran this financial stuff? Do you have also a film fund, I suppose, in Tehran? Yes?
Yes, this film was financed, and the production company is the Institute for the Intellectual Development of Children and Young Adults. And the main role of the institute was financing. I was free to do everything that I want. They didn't interfere in my process. I worked alone on my own, and they didn't interfere in what I was doing. I did what I wanted, and then when the film was completed, I submitted it to them. Just
yeah, that's nice.
I worked in my own studio, not exactly a studio, but yes, you can call it a studio, but it is.
There is a question for Dustin. How did you choose the style for your film, I suppose?
Yeah, cool. How did I choose the style? I didn't. It's my own. I'm very boring that way. I don't really experiment with new techniques as other filmmakers do, and they'd always try something new. I stick to what I know, and I just try and tell a different story. So also I believe the drawing is like cooking. Everybody can do it, just a matter of how it tastes. And in withdrawing, it's the same. Everyone can draw. It's just a matter of one can identify.
So actually, you prefer to focus on the story, not on the technique.
Exactly, and that's why I've just always drawn like that, and that's it's always the default line. No snazzy artsy brushes or anything. It's just the default pixel line in this case. Of course, I was always on pens before, but just the cheap pens that I could just pick up in the supermarket. This was my first digital product. It was kind of cool. I still turn the pen around to erase. I've got a friend of mine, he turns the pen around to erase, and then he goes like this on the Cintiq to brush away the virtual rubbings. No, but I just always thought it worked kind of well. It's the thin inlines, thick outlines. You could see what it's like. I've got big clubby feet, 3 fingers, big faces, no necks. It's just kind of how I drew. But thank you for the question.
It's like the children nowadays. You will see when your child will grow up.
Brilliant.
Give them a book and they said there is no slider. How should I open the book?
I was teaching once. And I showed a picture in a book. As a 6-year-old comes up to the book and goes like this on the picture.
Yeah. On the page, the zoom in.
It's our day and age.
Nice. And let's do the final round with a question that it's probably you've been asked a lot of time. How this situation affects you on this professional way, this lockdown pandemic year, especially this one. Because as you might know, that there are a lot of people that they say that the animators, they can work at home. There is no problem at all. So Eva?
Yeah, as you said, it really doesn't really affect me because we're working from the computer. We can do the meetings through Zoom. So I think as an animator, it's kind of lucky to have this profession in this Corona times. But I miss the personal contact when where you just in person you can tell more effectively the story, the ideas, how somebody moving and this kind of stuff.
Okay, Shiva.
I live as always. I have decided to make experimental short films at home, and uh, I want to make films with less budget, shorter time, but uh, but I want to experience, experience new techniques and new materials, and I want to do something different from what I have done till now. And I think it's it can be an opportunity to experience new things and new materials, new techniques, and and I think the most effective aspects of COVID news is related to film festivals and film distribution. I think, because I always work on my own at home, and it doesn't affect on my job as a filmmaker. But when it comes to film festivals and distribution, I think it is not good because I don't know. It has also some positive aspects because I think the festivals are going to be held online, and I think it is not a bad thing if in general. Because maybe more people have the opportunity to watch the films. But on the other hand, we have lost some social situations and the opportunity to meet each other in film festivals, and also watching the films on the screen. I don't know. I think the most effective aspects of COVID news that is related to distribution and film festivals rather than the production.
Yeah, you're perfectly right. Like last night in one session like this, they were all of them. They said that I'm working like 3 years for a film, and my only purpose is not to sell the film or to even the budget was under and my only goal it was to travel in the festival and to meet new people and to exchange ideas. And so unfortunately, yeah, but we will pass this situation for sure.
Yes, hopefully.
Thank you, Shiva. Dustin?
Yeah, so it's that time. It's been very difficult to, you're sitting on a film and you can't spread it, and festivals were dropping like flies in spring, and it is. I mean, I don't have any further plans for a film right now. I've got enough with my son because I'm the stay-at-home dad because we're a modern family. But, yeah, whatever. That's a longer story. But it is the vibes are, of course, something completely different, and especially for the animators, we all feel the same when we do get out. It's a different vibe at festivals, especially for animation. I think short film, if I may be so bold, they tend to be like oh, I don't know, your film wasn't as good as the last one. And animators were just happy to see each other. It's just like, yeah, dude. So, oh, the back still hurts. Yeah. So, and, you know, you have fun. You talk about it's lighthearted, and everybody knows what it means to do animation. So you're already on the same page. And of course, I know what it's like when I watch films on a computer. If to be able to skip things is can be good, but of course, if you're forced to, like in a traditional film festival, and you've got to see how the programming works, and if that has an advantage or a disadvantage, or what it does to you, you know. But especially just sensing that audience reaction. I was very fortunate to see the film twice, my film twice now, at 2 different festivals, and it's just, you share something with the people, and that is something valuable, because you know, we do make these films to be understood. I mean, I do. I make it for me. I make it for the audience. And if the audience likes it, then I like to think that they like me, or they understand me to a certain degree. And not that it's all about me, but just that we can share something, and that one can hit it off and start talking about things.
Michael?
Yeah. Well, it's there's not a straight answer to this question. I would answer it from 2 different perspectives. The one is in line with what everyone else said, but looking at it from someone who runs a studio, and you know, there's 15 people on a payroll, obviously, and you know, and you also do, you know, there are animators, there are storyboard artists, and you also do commission works. Obviously, you take a hit because of this COVID situation. Marketing budgets were slashed and everything. So I think it's up to you as a responsible producer, a responsible owner or founder of a studio, to save for the troubled times, you know, so the years before. So we were lucky that, you know, I guess we were doing some good management before, so we didn't really have to lay people off. And during the lockdown period that lasted about 3 months, you know, during the first wave, now there's a second lockdown coming here in Cyprus too. Like half of the people were going crazy with a lot of work, because everything was like very time sensitive because of the COVID projects that were coming in. And then a lot of other projects were put on pause. So how do you create, the first thing that comes to my mind, the way I like to think, is how do you take this challenge and turn it into an opportunity? So, you know, we always like to complain that we don't have time sometimes to work on our passion projects and stuff like that. Well, that was the ideal time to do it. So we invested a lot of time in doing training and also to work on passion projects. So because of that, we were able to get our project onto the pitching platform that then, you know, got selected. So next year we're going to Annecy. We also we're developing a TV series that got accepted at Cartoon Forum, and now we're talking with we're about to sign a distribution deal with a distribution company in the US. And if it wasn't for the lockdown and the way that we utilized the time at that time productively to make that investment, maybe we would still be sitting here today and, you know, complaining that we didn't have time to do it, you know. So it's a matter of how you prioritize stuff, and how you have to turn everything into an opportunity to try and look at it in a positive way. But definitely financially wise, it was challenging, and it is still a bit challenging. But it's a matter of always trying to, you know, to be a bit proactive. Now, in terms of the animation industry in general, for not necessarily original works, but at least for us, we wanted to get into that area. Animators in Europe are very busy. You know, it's like a golden age for animation. Like there's a lot of jobs, there's a lot of demand for content because of the COVID situation as well. So it's a good time to be an animator. In terms of the films, though, and, you know, with the festivals and everything, definitely. I mean, you make a film and you want to travel with that film. And we had all these invitations that then they got canceled or we had to turn it down. And it's a shame. It's painful not to be able to travel with your film. But on the positive side is that because you guys are doing these online versions, you know, at the end of the day, what you want to do as a filmmaker is to tell a story and that story to engage people. Mm-hmm. And with these online versions, where you know you are engaging people that probably would have not had the chance to visit the festival, and maybe this is the first time that they had an experience with, let's say, an animation festival, and maybe next year or the year after they're going to be also visiting the physical edition. So my hope as a filmmaker is that you know you turned this into an opportunity, and maybe going forward you're going to be able to keep these hybrid versions where you have the live events and also have.
You're right. Yeah, you're right. And also it's we will see the statistic after the festivals, but for sure we have the audience is larger because the films can be seen by the whole country, not only Bucharest, not only the capital. So yeah, in this, as you said, the stories could touch some other people that they couldn't come to the festival physically.
Exactly.
Amen.
Dustin, there is a question for you, actually. Dustin, you seem to like focusing on small jobs in your films. I remember The Cleaner. Jobs that we hardly notice. What's next?
Dude, that's really nice. Specifically because The Cleaner is still my favorite. The Cleaner and Signs. Those are the two that mean a lot to me. Yes, indeed, there's always jobs that one doesn't notice. Probably because I also do a lot of those jobs that one hardly notices, and there are people that do these kind of things, and that's the amazing thing. I don't know what's next. I hope to find another new great job to do something with. If anybody has any suggestions, let me know. I heard that there are still people that wrap oranges, or there's if you lose something down a gutter, you can phone up the state in Switzerland and they'll send somebody, and he's got a little stick, a little bit of string and a magnet, and he'll send that magnet down into the gutter, and hopefully your object will be magnetized and you can fish it back up. That's a profession. There's people do that. So it's not as interesting enough as the electrician now and the story that I can develop behind it. But yeah, once I find the next job, there'll be the next film.
Cool. Guys, thank you very much for being here tonight. And keep walking on this road. Take care, and hopefully see you the next year. I don't know, physically, I mean.
That'd be great. Thank you very much, Mihai.
Thank
See
you.
And I want
to thank you to Michalis for the consoling words about the situation, because I think it was consoling. So thank you for the positivity.
You're welcome. Take care.
Keep taking our stuff.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Jesus, man.
Hey, cool. Cheers, dude. Thanks a lot.